Good morning, YouTube friends. Well, I was on time, and then I had to stop and do 100 things, and left the keys to the bike locked in the house, and had to go back in and get those. And it's been a hectic morning. It is Wednesday. The bike says it's 54 degrees out, but my phone says it's 44. So it was probably a little warmer in the garage than it is out here, because it definitely ain't 54 out here. So 44 would be between 8 and 9 for my friends that use the metric system. So we got the leather chaps and an extra layer under the jacket. Heated grips are on. Got my rear tire for the project bike mountain balanced yesterday, but I haven't put it on the bike yet. I did edit some video this morning. Hopefully that'll get posted tonight or tomorrow morning. So at least I'll get one video out this week. I'm waiting for... Let me back up. I said I wasn't going to buy a tire machine for the house. But now I'm waiting for a response from a lady on Facebook Marketplace about a tire machine. But I assure you, it's not just for the house. And if this lady gets back to me about this tire machine that's in Spokane, I'll probably leave work and come home and get the truck and go out there and get it. Let's see what else is going on. We've got an Indian Challenger at the shop that the head of the drain plug is stripped. The threads are good, but the part where you attach a socket, because it's just a little 6mm like Allen screw basically, it's stripped out. So it was stripped out before I got to it. I had to use an extractor to remove the drain plug, and I wasn't going to put it back in like that. But those drain plugs are intergalactic back order. From what I understand, you can only get them from Indian, and they won't be off of back order until the end of next month at the soonest. So chances are I'm going to weld a nut to it and put it back in. There's a Harley Davidson Heritage Softail with a really sweet paint job. I mean, this is a mid-90s bike with an Evolution engine, so I mean, realistically it's a $8,000 bike with a $30,000 paint job. And it's not running right. It's been to the shop a couple times because it's not running right. It's running really rich on the front cylinder and really lean on the rear cylinder. Did a compression test and a cylinder leak down test yesterday, and they both came out good. But my borescope was at the house because I was using it to look at the chain tensioner shoes on my twin cam that did finally come in for my my project bike, and I hadn't brought it back to work, so I didn't borescope it yesterday, but I'll borescope that today. Although I don't think I'll see much with a borescope. But I suspect, because one cylinder was right full of oil, or one spark plug was right covered with oil rather, I suspect the valve guides are shot. If the rings were bad, it would have had much lower compression, I think. I mean, I can't imagine it having bad rings and having good compression, right? So, my best guess is valve guides. It's dumping a buttload of oil down that cylinder through the intake valve. And making it run crappy and blow black smoke. Either that or it just needs a carburetor. It's not running like super extra extreme lean on the back cylinder, just, you know, a little bit lean. Borescope it and see what I can see. If I see really slimy intake valves or really slimy exhaust valves, we'll know it's a valve guide. Could be something else entirely, who knows? The boss wants to put a flat slide Mikuni carb on it. I really don't care, I'll do whatever I'm told. If he wanted to leave it up to me, I'd, you know, probably take a few more steps before throwing a carburetor at it. Camera always wants to sort of tip off to the side. there's a Dyna at the shop with a stupid, and I mean stupid, 21-inch skinny fat spoke front wheel. You know the one I'm talking about. Tall skinny wheel, big fat spokes. Looks really cool, but they're awful wheels. And it's tubeless, even though it's got the big spokes. And it's a son of a bitch to get a tube into one, because there's no space. And so now it's our fault that this bike sat for 2 years and had a flat tire in the front, and I didn't even work here 2 years ago. It sure as shit ain't my fault. But I broke the tire down, and there was rust inside the wheel that was making it leak. I got it all back together and buttoned it all up and made sure it wasn't leaking no more, but I got to check it one more time this morning and make sure it's still holding pressure before we ship it. And I also tore down the front end and put some rubber fork boots on it. And in the process of doing that, I broke his headlight because he's got this really stupid little mini fairing on it. And there's not enough brackets to hold the mini fairing up properly, so he's just got a screw through the bottom of it that he drilled and tapped into the bottom of his headlight housing. So I screwed this big long screw in to try and get the headlight centered in the fairing. And I went like one turn too far and it blew all the glass out of the headlight. So luckily we had another light lens in the used parts bin. And I was able to just replace it with that one. But apparently the answer was not to have the headlight in the middle of the fairing, but to have the fairing almost resting on the top of the headlight. It's a ridiculous bike. He thinks he's that one blonde kid on that one show because he's got the big tall T-bars and the little mini fairing. Everything's blacked out. He rattle canned half that bike himself. It actually came out pretty good though. It looks good. It rode nice. I can kind of see the attraction. Those bars are pretty comfortable, but I would never put that god-awful crap on mine. And if you like that, that's fine. I'm not trying to bag on you. It's just not my style. But yeah, it really is an awful wheel. And they're expensive ass wheels too, but they're horrible. They're very cheaply made, and it's just a son of a bitch to get a tire on one. The edge of the bead's usually sharp enough it'll cut the tire, cut the bead of the tire while you're trying to mount the tire, if you're not super careful. Of course, we also have kind of a shitty tire machine that's not really made for the low profile tires. Although the one in Spokane I'm waiting to hear about is and will do them.